and welcome into Getting Help from Uncle Sam. You know, some people are meant for a job, and my guest today is meant for this job. He's the state treasurer, Young Boozer. And you know, Young, the last time you were here is probably when you were state treasurer, before you quit being state treasurer.
That's right.
Because they didn't fire you. You maxed out as the time you could be state treasurer.
That's right. I got termed out in 2019. So I would imagine last time we got together to do one of these shows was probably in 2018 or so?
Probably 2018 or
so.
so.
4 years ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then obviously what happened is then the governor appointed you back into the position.
That's correct.
As state treasurer about, what, a year and a half ago?
October 1st of last year, John McMillan, who followed me as a treasurer,
Yes.
took the job as the commissioner for the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission.
Mm-hmm.
So he resigned on September 30th, and the governor called me and said, would you be interested in coming back as the treasurer? And I said, in a heartbeat.
Yes, absolutely.
And so she appointed me on the October the 1st. I've been back since then.
And then, obviously, you are now running again.
I announced almost immediately that I was going to run for the position this year. So in 22, I'm on the ballot, or I will be on the ballot in the fall. I had no opposition in the primary, so the campaigning has been relatively easy.
Thank goodness.
But it allows me to focus on the job.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, you are the chief banker. The big bank for the state of Alabama is the state treasurer's office. What does that encompass?
Well, that's true. I am the banker for the state. And as bankers, bankers take in cash, they hold it, invest it, and then they make it available for withdrawal. So the way it works in the state of Alabama is that people pay taxes from around the state. Those go into local banks. That is all consolidated into one large account at one large bank. And then what we do is we manage it as we need to. So it can be overnight money where we have availability the next day, or it can be for short periods of time, a couple of months, maybe 2 years or less. And then we manage that money and to the best that we can to get a good return on that. And then we have it available for the comptroller to write checks. Now, what I tell people is,
you don't write checks. No.
If you're looking for your tax refund, don't call me because I don't write checks.
That's right.
And a lot of people do ask that, and I'm very pleasant about it, but the comptroller does that. So, and let me just give you some numbers as to how big this is. When I was first elected treasurer back in 2010 and took office in 2011, we were managing $2.4 billion in that pool. When I left office 8 years later, we had gone through an expansion in the economy.
Yes.
Alabama was doing well. We had just come off the Great Recession. That number had increased to $3.6 billion, a 50% increase in 8 years, which in the scheme of things is
very good.
Very good.
Very good.
I left in 2019. I'm back now. The number that we are managing today, actually yesterday's balance, $10.6 billion.
My goodness.
It is up $7 billion from 3 years ago. So I see your face and
Yes.
you're going, where did that money come from?
Yes, absolutely.
It basically has come from the federal government. So if you look at all of these issues and all of these, all this funding that's coming from COVID and infrastructure and all of these other things that are coming out of Washington, that's where that money has come from. And right now we are managing that. And the great thing about it is we've never had balances that high. When we first got that money, interest rates were really low. And we were probably going to make, on a projected basis, $25, $30 million. Well, if I looked at that thing yesterday, it was the projected income for that for the next 12 months is about $130 million.
Wow.
So we are benefiting from rising rates. As the Federal Reserve increases these short-term rates, the state of Alabama is benefiting from it. And let me sort of translate that to your viewers, is that if you are a saver, you are going to be doing better because interest rates are starting to rise, and your bank is going to pay you more interest on your investments on your account. And if you're going to buy securities, those securities are higher in interest rates. If you're a borrower, it's going to be more expensive for you because those rates have gone up.
Rates have gone up. That's amazing.
It is.
That can happen.
Yes.
But another function that you have in your office, what a lot of people don't understand, is there's a lot of unclaimed property then first of all, how does it wind up in this big room, so to speak? It's if, in other words, if I died and I had some possessions, and after a period of time, nobody knew what to do with it, it becomes unclaimed property, does it not?
It does, and it's. Let me just give you some numbers, and then I'll get into how all this works. At the state of Alabama, we have approximately $1.1 billion in unclaimed property. That represents about 9 million individual claims. So if you do the math, it's on average it's about $125.
It's just about every person in the state
Well,
should be looking for something.
You know, really, everybody in the state should be looking on a regular basis.
Right.
Because the people who are holding this unclaimed property turn it over to the state after typically 3 years. A bank, let's say.
Right.
Let's say you had a bank account, $100 in it, you forgot about it, there was no transaction on it for 3 years. The bank's required to try to find you. If they can't, they turn it over to us.
Is that if you're still alive too?
Oh, yes,
If you've
absolutely.
Okay.
It encompasses everybody.
Okay.
So if they can't find you at that last try, they turn it over to us, and then we try forever to try to find you. And we have a website. We also send out cards to people to their last known address to try to find them and then get this money
And let
back.
them know that you've got something.
We've got something.
Yeah.
And nothing gives us greater satisfaction or pleasure than reuniting people with their own money.
I can imagine.
It's great. Everybody smiles.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no question about it.
It's a win-win.
It is a win-win. So what I would suggest to people is look on a regular basis. Is that you go to our website, Treasury.
Okay. And we're putting that up on the screen.
Okay, treasury.alabama.gov.
Okay.
You go to our homepage. It'll say there'll be a little box that says unclaimed property. You click on that. It'll take you to the unclaimed property page, and it'll say get started. You click on that, and all you got to do is put in your name and your city, and it will search to see if we have unclaimed property for you. And if we do, if your name shows up and you've got something, you can just continue on the website and make a claim, and it'll be processed. So we take in about $100 million a year. This year we're on track to pay out about $35 million.
Wow.
And it's all kinds of things. So, but it's typically dollar values of abandoned checking accounts. It could be a check that you didn't cash from the state of Alabama. It could be a deposit, a security deposit, either for your apartment or for your business.
Sure.
There are all kinds of things, and holders are required to report that information between November and January of each year. So it gets refreshed every year. So what I tell people is you need to check.
Don't give up.
Never give
right.
up. And the best thing to do is to think about this. Everybody's got a birthday.
Right. Do it on your birthday.
Do it on your birthday.
Give
I want to
yourself a
give you.
gift.
I want to give you a birthday present.
Amen.
If you've got your money for you.
Great.
And it's easy to do.
Great.
Just contact us.
Okay, thank you so much. We're going to get you back in because I want to talk about college savings plans.
Okay.
And we'll be right back right after this.